Okay, so I'm going to do another CC playthrough, and this one is for Doubtful River Green by Doubtful Obelisk, whose work I mean I know from World Cup, from all of the various Doubtful courses that we've played, and yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this. I know his focus is always on golf, which is exactly where it should be. So yeah, I'm just going to read the thread. Default conditions, of course, are firm. Default green speed 178. Design maxed out conditions. We're not going to push it. We don't need to. We'll play on default as he wanted it. Now, I recommend north and west winds. So let's pop it on northwest. I really like that. First of all, it's great that you've put conditions in here that you want. Sorry, northeast, northwest. And let's go medium. Why not? Now, green speeds and everything else we're going to keep as is. So firm, big fan of any firm conditions. I think it makes it much more playable, in spite of what some may tell you. Green 7,271. Definitely what we're going with. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Now, we're going to play pin 2 because that's kind of what I've been doing all the way through, and it's a forgotten pin. Now, all of this is going to be my thoughts. I've not seen the course before. It was only published last night, so it's my first take on it. You get natural reactions as to everything we see. Some of what I say you will agree with, some of what I say you will be something you tried to do anyway, or it's usually the way. So some of it might just be personal preference. Okay, first hole. Alright, so you can certainly see a couple of things that we've got going on. I think my first take, and you will have heard this a number of times before, it is quite bare, and I do think it would have benefited from some planting. Now, I know that you have bare courses in game and that this is technically heavy rough, but I think we do need a little bit of planting, and unfortunately this grass just doesn't quite show up. Now, you could have made it a lot bigger and spam planted it, but I get that that takes quite a lot of time. I did that with black salt, worked really nicely actually. You have to make it pretty Jurassic to do so. So yeah, there's the planting critique out of the way, because I think we're gonna get that pretty much all over. Okay, we've got a little housing development over here, clubhouse. I mean, minimalist is kind of what I was expecting, if we're honest. We're in Delta by the looks of it, and I think so. Things that I can already see that I like that you've got a little cluster of greens here. That's interesting. Really like that mound. I'm looking forward to playing that hole, because I have no doubt that you have maximised the use of that. Oh gosh, I've lost control of the camera. I'm ambivalent about the runoff into the water. It's a really good hazard. I wish it looked better. Playability wise, I'm sure it works brilliantly. I don't know. I think we could have made it a bit. We could have probably smoothed this out into the water, but I get what we're going for. And hey, you've been consistent with it. I don't know. This is just tough to do. So that's not a critique. Really, there's no real way to do it better other than making it a bit smoother. Okay, so we're starting with kind of that tee shot that's sort of associated with the Cape hole. Love this bunker position, because that pushes me even closer to danger. We're only 2 feet up, so I think I can probably hit straight at the bunker and have the wind take it across. And if we get a fast, then so be it. Oh, that's a real heart in mouth tee shot. No, stay. Damn it. Oh, that's a tough first tee shot. It's great because you've given me all this space and I just don't want any part of it. Let's go slightly further over. Yeah, that's the tee shot we should have taken. I was worried about running into the bunker, and from that point of view it's brilliant. Huge fan of this. I'm hoping I'm an hanging lie. Yeah, I love the design of this hole. I've done some I've done similar, and I think it's just really effective. The more safe I bail off the tee, the more of a hanging lie I've got into that and the second shot. It's a really simple hole, but it's very, very well done. As you can tell by the fact that we're trying to hold this for par. I mean, there's a shot, so hopefully we'll only drop the one. Just got a little bit nervy off the tee. And that's a doubtful first hole. It's not, and I don't mean this with any disrespect whatsoever. It's no frills, really well designed, minimalist in the extreme. We've got one bunker on that hole and a river, and you've used both of them perfectly. Now I think we're going for the sand hills kind of vibe as well. If you're going to go with the no planting route, what you do, I believe, have to do is do more of the mounding and dune work. It's one of those where we are playing a golf game and you need some of that. Okay, so we've got a bunker here. Yes, I mean I keep coming back to let's have some bushes thrown in here, sunken down, make them big. And all of this I'm sure is just stuff that is decision. You don't want to plant. And that's all well and good. I'm going to say this is what I would have done. Couple of bushes chucked in around here to break things up. Make the grass really big in the middle and kind of make it this size near the fairway and just go gradual. And it'll take a while, but I think you'd have a much better look. And that's kind of how I did black salt. I love these two cross bunkers in that I'm hoping they're going to come in, well, probably not with this distance, but I also, more than that, I adore the way that this is making me work ground game, and yeah, this definitely is giving me Sandhills vibe, which I think you mentioned in the thread. Hopefully hit a better tee shot than the first. Okay, so that's good. I'm interested as to why you protected the left-hand side of the fairway quite so much. I guess because now I'm slipping even further down towards this runoff. It's an interesting choice. I mean, it does make sense, but yeah, it's not where I'd have put a bunker, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, it's just different. Now I really want to play the ground game on this, which I'm sure is what you want me to do as well. So 194, we're going to fade it into the slope a little bit and hope it just carries on down. Got the fast, which I thought I might, and that's going to take me off to the left, I think. Interested as to how much this rolls out. Oh, we weren't far off. It was the right shot, definitely. And I love that you've forced ground game into that, because there's no way we're carrying that. Although you've given me, I guess if I am going left, I've got maybe the tiniest hint of a backstop. Ah, well, we get that shot back on the first, so that's no big deal. And given there was a second hole birdie anyway, a second ball birdie, yeah, we're okay with this. Okay, but yeah, I mean, it is what I thought it would be. Playability is A1. I like the little light rough path. I wish I could see a bit more of it, but equally, having done Marlette in similar textures, I think I know why. Because you've got this little bit round the edge that will go really neon, if not. So, yeah, I mean, I wish this was a bit more visible, but I totally get why not. Okay, and I love these burnt out textures, are great, contrasted with the kind of deeper green. Great hole design, love the mound there. So I'm wanting to come in from this side. That bunker's placed pretty much perfectly. I'm probably going to go middle-ish. If if I'm making one tweak, I might want a little bit more of a left to right cant, but I think we've got enough of one probably. No, I think we've got it. I'm not seeing a huge amount that I would say to improve any of these holes. We've made it to the flatter part, which is good. Didn't have to kind of take on that hazard too much. And I think for CC you're going to have people, like, you've provided a nice way for people to score on every hole so far. Like, you can play for fat of the green and have a decent putt, but if you want to get close, you're taking a few chances, which is my kind of golf. I mean, in this case I'm not going near that pin. I turn it in a little bit, but only to negate the wind. That needs to go, doesn't it? Yeah, a little. It's going to be a really interesting course to critique. So with all of them, I'm doing multiple playthroughs. You just get to see my first one, because that way you get more of the... I think it's quite useful for a designer to see what people's natural reactions to everything are. We've got our kind of front Biarritz. This green looks really interesting. I think this is one where I'll really enjoy playing on different pins. Disclaimer, I generally hate Biarritzes. I find them... I don't know, there's something about the half-pipe nature that I find is just a bit gimmicky. I like that you've put your own spin on it though. So firstly we're at diagonal, secondly it's at the front of the green, which allows you to do more interesting things and pop this tier on the back. A little bit of a half tier as well, because you've got a flat plateau there. And I'd be willing to bet your pins are 1, 2, 3, and then 4, which is kind of where I'd put them, but I think the slopes had interest. 178. Let's go up a club. Oh, they're very fast. Yeah, that was very fast. That was a bad swing. Well, at least you give me a backstop. Can do with that. Oh, and this one's perfect. Hoping for a fast and kind of bring it a bit more left. Yeah, I've not played this hole well at all. That tee shot was a killer. Think about that. It's all about how much that first little bit of break affects it. Yeah, a little bit more than I thought it would do. Well, we deserved a bogey there. Quite an up and down start. So I like that you've gone with the buried trees texture and you've got the dunes in the background. Okay, this one, I think also, I guess, pretty much all my critiques are visual. I think you can do a bit more with the bunker shape. If you're going to go with absolutely nothing, I think you have to go with really attractive bunker shapes. I liked the ones on the previous hole, these kind of, or the previous two holes, these blowout type bunkers that you will find at Sandhills. I think you've done those really well. This one, it's doing less for me. It's kind of a, I know it isn't, but it looks a bit like a stock shape. So here obviously we're trying to cut the corner of the dogleg if we possibly can. I'm trying to bite, trying to tempt me into going over it, and then I get an angle into the pin. I know I need to, but I don't we're going to have to go for it, I think. And we didn't get the tempo we wanted, but maybe we'll get away with it. And we do. I mean, I'm enjoying that you're bunkering where you need to. Could the holes use maybe a little bit of extra in terms of... I think the play there is really obvious in the sense that... Sorry, obvious is the wrong word. Because you've only bunkered one area and we've worked out through the first few holes you only really bunker the best play. kind of obvious off the tee what you want, what the challenge is, and there's totally a place for that. 10-play holes will do all of that for a start. I do wonder whether you could have been better served by putting in a couple of other bunkers that might make you think if you choose not to do that. So if I'm heading up to here, well, I don't know, could we have a bunker there and a bunker there? It would help for visuals for a start. Could we have one here that maybe obscures your view if you don't go all the way right? Partly these are visual things, but I think it would help playability in places if you considered the couple of extra bunkers that you could add. Oh, the little fishhook swing should work out for us. Oh, my tempo's normally okay. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Well, we've not hit 2 perfect shots, but we've hit 2 shots to the right areas and we've been rewarded. Alright, short par 5, up the hill. So we've got plateau here, kind of all falling off left to right. Same up here, love that fall off. And I think that comes to one other point that I was going to make on the flyover was, if we're going to go with it all being the land, I'd like to see it be a bit more dramatic with what you've done with the land. It works and it's good, and I think you've executed what you want perfectly. But I think it's one of those where we're designing for video game golfers who it's a very sensory game. Now, because of this, what I do like about I think this is a really well designed approach shot, and it's a shame that I've missed the fairway and don't have a chance to hit it properly. But I like that you've bunkered just here. I like the way the green slopes work. I like the way that you might be baiting me to lay up over here when I really don't want to be doing that. And even then, I mean, the slope going right to left is pretty subtle, but my best layup is down here. Into wind as well. Let's go with that. Oh, fast everywhere at the moment. And we haven't quite got up, so we're on an upslope, and it's just what I like a lot is how you use a couple of hazards and the land really effectively. I don't think you get enough credit for that. Oh, there's a dreadful shot. Come back. Wasn't sure how it would go off that uphill lie. Still, we've got a putt. Hopefully, that should be about it. Lovely stuff. Okay. Well, we've slowly made it back to under par. Alright, here we've gone for the blowout bunker a bit more. Trying not to repeat myself, but I'm really just coming to the same conclusions over and again. I would love a bit more of this, rather than just it feels like we've been essentially doing one bunker per hole, and that bunker has been extremely well placed, but given how good you've been at what I would term as confluence of hazards and how each one works together, I think we could be doing more and getting a much, I don't know. Your issue is always going to be the visuals, I think, with this course. And don't get me wrong, I love how it plays, because I've got green slopes that I can work off, I've got ground game I can use, the tee shots are interesting, and the one hazard that is featured on the one hazard plus the ground game on each hole works really nicely in tandem. I'd just like to see a little bit more of that. 12 feet. That's not turning enough, is it? Oh no, we've got it. For a long par 4, that was perfectly... CC level is perfect. The greens are interesting without being over the top. For a long hole, that one was perfectly judged. It was long, but it was forgiving off the tee and into the approach. Whereas this green's got a lot more bite to it, but not silly. I'd almost like this yellow slope a little further forward. I think it would really help for this pin, but maybe it's more for this one. I do like that you are signalling where your kind of major slopes are by using the yellow and red. It's not ostentatious, they're not crazy on each green, but I can tell where I want to be aiming, so I know that this green funnels off back and right. With that in mind, I think pretty close to full loft on an 8-iron. We'll just get over that little tear. I like that your tears are subtle. Right? There's not enough properly subtle tearing in this game. They're always really overblown, and that needs to sit. That's a tricky tee shot, actually. You have to carry that little front tear and then... Okay, 17 feet. I think I might have hit that too hard. Yeah. It was the line I wanted, but... yeah, damn. I was hoping for a bit better, but that was an overhit putt. I do like the view back across the river. I mean, as ever, your features are what we have are very prominent and well used. We have 2 bunkers. This excites me. I'm teasing, but I do. What I mean is, I think that they probably come in on both shots. And a run off. Okay, and I can see where pin 1 is. Great. So this is great because I don't think enough people will spot this. We can carry this, but that's going to leave us pitch shot, which are trickier to control. They tend to run out more. The easier shot you've left us is playing up to the right, and that then leads us into an angle that's going to be going more at that downslope and running in. And you've given us this little back plateau, which is fun. Now, there's a bit of that core Crenshaw template that I love on this hole, where it's almost play left to go left. But turned into a short par 4, which is fun. Yeah, I don't think I'd change anything about this whole design. I love it. I'm still going to go for the driver, because if I'm laying up to full wedge, well, you've put this bunker in a really annoying place. So I think we're going to have to go over here. And hopefully it feeds down to the left hand side using the ground. That's kind of been the plan. There we go. Beautiful. Now we just have to nail a pitch to a tiny tear, which I'm not very good at. So we're going to full loft on a gap wedge, because I tend to hit fast, maybe a little down. No, full is good. Oh, and we get a slow. Well, that's annoying. I still think I might have come up short anyway. We are just off the green. Yeah, it's not turning in that much. A little bit of a push. So that's an annoying par in that we could have done that a bit better. I don't think I played it wrong, but did I want to leave a pitch shot that I'm not very good at controlling into that pin? Probably not. But I think the way you put that bunker, yeah, goaded me into it a little bit. Okay, so another one of blast bunkers up here. I don't think this one is strategic, actually. I mean, it probably is, but I don't think that's my ideal position. I think I'm okay with hitting just down to the water. or like down in the middle and have the sloping fairway take us down. I mean, yes, I have my comments about the visuals, but the golf is excellent, and really that's what this is about. I've overfaded it. Now I have to say, the other course you mentioned in the post, I noticed the Sandhills reference, but the other one, it was something River. I definitely didn't recognise. I'm going to have to check that one out because I'm sure I'd see a lot of the nods on there. We have a par 5 playing stroke index 1. Interesting, and it's not by water. Where have you put pin 1? Or have you just had like, I mean we're early days, so it's probably only counting the 10 people that played it before the stats updated, so maybe that's what it is. Bunker shapes are working better for me. This one, great. The pin looks fine. Pin 1 where we're going. Interesting. So what makes this difficult? Are people going in that bunker trying to clear it? Because I don't think that's an option, not with this wind. We're just going to feed down here, I think. And then maybe we have a shot at into 304 and a 600 yard par 4, par 5 even. Probably not. Although, oh yeah, we can get there. The question is probably, do we want to? So it all rolls this way, so even if we do make it, I mean, this feels too fun not to go for. I'm not sure this is the play, but I want to hit this shot. Let's hit it into that slope, and hopefully just watch it feed nicely onto the green. And go way too far. Whee! Yeah. I think that's one where I'd want to play it a couple of times and really get a feel, but you've done that really nicely. So, with that in mind, where do I have to be hitting it? I actually have to be hitting it a lot shorter, don't I, and rolling in. I'm sure there will be people who absolutely hate that approach shot. I am not one of them. That's a lot of fun. And sit. That's not too bad. At the end of the day, I'm confused as to how that stroke index won. Because I don't think the pin looked like it was in too tough a spot. Weird. Oh, 12. I haven't seen the sand paths before. I think we saw it up on here when we were over here when we were coming down that hole. Not sure how I feel about them. This feels like a mirror image of that par 5 we played. Far more hogsbacky. Love a good hogsback. Now I wonder whether you've used this. How have we used this? So usually hogsbacks, if you hit the middle you kind of bounce on and get an extra kick. If you hit the left it deflects you into the rough. If you hit the right it deflects you into the rough. This one I feel like hitting left is going to be okay. Hitting right is definitely not. But the left kind of looks like a better angle. I'm going to try and hit the middle anyway. Okay, so we've got a sloping lie. I mean, that's a great tee shot in that there's no bunkers and you don't need them. Oof, tough approach. Well, I think somewhere over here. We get slow and it really doesn't matter. I really like courses like this where it's not based on as much on precision, it's more on feel. I think that's a lot of fun. We need more of that. So we've got another long par 4 back down the hill. Now I'm assuming I can probably clear those. Down 41. Yeah, I think we can. A little punch bowly. Which I like. Big backstop for this pin. It's all good. Let's just try to launch one. I mean, that's a satisfying tee shot. It does take those two bunkers out of play. Which, in fairness, I appreciate that what you haven't done, which a number of others in this contest have done, is when you've had a long hole, you've bunkered it like you would a short hole, or made the green like it would be short. I think the difficulty on this hole is appropriate. I think I'd like to see it. I don't know. I think this is this course in a nutshell. It all works really well, and there's nothing I can critique from a playability point of view, really. But I'm left wanting something more visually. Oh, come on. Fasts are killing me. Still, we should be able to make... And that's a hole where... I'm surprised it's playing at stroke 3. I don't think that's really that difficult a par, but I guess if you're making birdies pretty much everywhere else. Okay, I'm hoping this is the one with the mound by the water. Yes, it is, and that pin is right where I'd want it to be. Now, yeah. I'm really hoping you've made it so that you can funnel around the back. I pulled a little bit of a similar trick on Kayuma, and it's a lot of fun where you go left and you open up a tiny angle to the back pin. I don't know whether we have, or whether I'm just kind of hoping that it's there, because it's the shot I really want to play. I'm going to try. But I also love that I am looking ahead from the tee, trying to work out, well, if the pin's there, then okay, I could be challenging the water all the way down the right, or we could be trying something silly. I think you have allowed it. I mean, this is a shot that's so far beyond my difficulty level. But we're going to give it a go. Slow isn't really what I wanted. Oh, we're going to hit the other side of that and just careen off. You stay there. I feel like that shot's an option. I'd love to know whether that's something you intended or something I'm just seeing. Tempted just to play this round again purely for that shot. I'm also strongly tempted at this point to take an unplayable purely for that shot, but I think that would be silly. But if that works as I think it is, it's probably my favourite approach shot in the competition. Well, if you pull it off. Yeah, again, playing a weird stroke index, that one. Okay, and then you have these little confluence of greens, so 1, 3, 1, 14, 15. Which is cool. Okay, I can see, I think we've got a little mound in there. So, one of those little Maxwell rolls. Yeah, we do. Those are great. I saw a lot of those on Tufts Club and I thought they worked really well there. So it's nice to see someone else doing the same thing. Great green sight. Yeah. Started playing into the fast a little bit more. I can imagine in higher winds this starts playing really, It really shows its teeth. Which I think you said actually, didn't you? Back-to-back threes, and good that you've gone short, long. If you're doing this, if you go back-to-back threes, you've got to make them different. Cool little blowout bunker, and I'm hoping that the green is, yeah, you've done the sightline really nicely. This also feels very Sandhills. Okay, I got the fast I wanted. I'm hoping the wind's bringing that just back in. Yeah, that's about as I wanted it. Apron was perfect. I think you've got, I mean, the back left pin position is going to be great on this. But, short right, you've got a big reverse Redan kicker. But you've put a nice little spin on a Redan. Or reverse. Oh, that was never high enough. Just a bad pot. No, we've recovered pretty well from that travesty on the first. It's not my lowest scoring round, but the difficulty I think you've nailed. Great undulations on this hole. The way it's just riding that ridge is perfect. I think if it's kind of, I mean, it's helped by the lighting. But I would have liked a few more of these holes to show the undulations off just that much. Green side is perfect. Bunkering around the green and the shape of the green are perfect. Yeah, huge fan of this hole. About 28 feet, so we're really aiming more over left than we think. Not sure if that'll be... yeah, that should be good. I want to be left on this, I think, to open that up a touch. What do we want to loft up a sandwich? No, I think I want to loft down a lob wedge. Found a bit more tempo recently. Slippery little part. Hold. There we go. And what else do we have? To finish off, 18. Okay. It's an interesting choice for an 18th. I have no doubt that you have done the fairway into the water trick before I even look at it. I think if you put a little mound in front of the green, that I like. That's a subtle detail that I don't think... this pin position. Okay, so we're wanting to hit, I mean, down 51 feet. What do we want to do? I think I probably want to bump one iron, and if it trickles on, so be it, but it'll probably end up short. I love the way you've got it. I don't think it's going to feed right into this bunker, but I like the way slopes feed towards it. And that mound's going to make pitch shots that pin tricky. I think I'm going here. Love this hole. And I love that you've given me a framing bunker that... okay, it's probably actually there for a reason. It's probably to protect against people laying up for a full lob wedge. But I like that you've given me that, and I think we needed a little more of it. Good view. Right, let's go. Let's see if we've got this right. I'm kind of protecting against the fast, so this should end up short. I'll be stunned if it doesn't. Yeah, that's... so fast would have been about right. But as is, that's where I would have figured this would land. A little bit of loft to slow the chip down. That's a really nice... Is this a finishing hole? Yes, it's risk reward, but I don't... I love this as a 9th hole. I don't think I love it as an 18th. I think you can have... It's really... I've tried to do a drivable par 4 as an 18th, and I think it's really tricky to manage. Especially that one where I don't think it's more strategic than heroic, and I feel on an 18th you need an element of heroic. Whereas with that one, I think you're going to end up with a lot more people driving the green and bouncing over and into the water, and it's not quite, I think, the feel that we're after. Alright, so golf-wise, really enjoyed it. Loved everything about it. So, what we're going to do is we're going to load up the criteria. I'm going to talk you through it. Playability and shot values. I thought they were excellent, simply. I do think you could have bunkered a little bit more, and I think that would have added to it for the, if I'm not taking on the one challenge on that whole what if, or kind of also maybe disguising the challenge on the whole a little bit. I think that would be the one thing that probably I would have done differently. But I thought the way you did your greens complement, what worked so well was the hazards in unison, and playability wise this is right up there for me. So that, I mean, it scores really highly on there. I love the way that I could use ground game, and not only could use ground game, was strongly encouraged to. I really think back to that. There's a couple of approaches that stick with me so much because I was bumping into mounds or trying to get around hazards. The one on 2, I think your par 5s were generally great. Some of the green sides were outstanding as well. So that's the really good stuff. Technical execution, yeah, I mean, what you've done well. There's not a huge amount of stuff that I see as particularly complex, but it doesn't need it. Yeah, there's not a lot to critique. Technical is a weird one for a course like this. I think the only thing that I spot that I maybe would have changed in terms of where you've laid surfaces or what have you is the slopes into the water. So where you've kind of got that fairway angling very sharply, but kind of it's a really minor nitpick. I don't think I've got anything there. Aesthetics and environment. I get the Sandhills vibes, and I think you know exactly what myself and other judges will say about this. It really does, to translate into a video game, this really needs a bit more of the planting and the aesthetic side, and that really for me is the only place it falls down, because it does just feel empty. And whilst there are some people for whom this course is built for, myself included, who will really appreciate the golf side of things, I think you need a bit more, particularly in a contest. You're going to need a bit more of the bells and whistles to really make it stand out. And I would love to see what this course looked like properly planted, or I think you've got you've got a really strong contender here if it had done all the nice visuals, because that's the area that lets it down. The routing, flow, cohesion, variety of holes, all great. I would have changed 18, but I don't know really what to. I don't know. I felt that 17 was great and was a relatively short hole. 18 was a very short drivable hole. I just didn't feel that heroic kind of finisher in there. I felt, what else am I thinking? I think we had a couple of the long par 4s that just played dead downhill. Maybe could we have had a longer, flatter par 4 where actually you are making me hit a really long club for my approach into a green, but that's a nitpick. Anything else I'm thinking of? No, I love that. I'd have probably liked a shorter par 4 before the 9th, but now we're really nitpicking. Looking at the scorecard, this is a fun little nod that I've noticed that you've just done. Having a par 4 longer than a par 5 is a lot of fun, and the fact that I didn't notice at the time must make you very happy. Par 3's great distance and variety of lengths. Big fan of the short 3 to long 3. Oh, and I'm just seeing you've done your creek thing. It's a shame it shows up here, but it's completely unnoticeable. So that's cool as well. Overall things to consider. I've kind of said them all, and you would have heard all of these critiques a number of times before, and I hope I've pointed out a few things on the playability side that maybe could have helped, but I don't think there's very much. You do what you do really, really well. Yeah, just it'll be a lot of fun for me to go back and play again on a different pin set, and already looking forward to it. So yeah, well done, and I hope this goes well in the competition. But yeah, and do reach out if you've got any questions or any points that you'd want clarifying, anything at all. Take care.